Hi everyone, I'm here in my home park once again, where I was earlier when I had that grand finale, dude. That's right. As you can see, I'm still wearing I'm literally holding my Steph shirt that's already well sweated from, the last game, which was game 11. Definitely had the sweat on it, knowing it is my closeout shirt. So, yep, good for me. But I'm just gonna put this away as I'm going to quickly reflect on, first of all, my overall 2025 shoot-around season, leading up to the final game, which is the shoot-around finals, game 11, and obviously going to the off season. Now, I already talked with my guy Eugene, who was there to watch my entire game 11 in this very park. I already discussed how it happened, so I can briefly say it. As you know, it started out where I was down 0-7 before I made my three on the left arc, I think. And then next thing you know, I was starting to get really cold, and eventually I went down 3-39, and it had to take a 4 after my second time out, since I was only allowed 4-point attempts at the time, since it was under the 2-minute mark. And eventually I made one. I needed one to do the mid-range advantage. And eventually, I'm gonna tell you what though, when I reviewed that one mid-range shot, that was the third attempt, right? When I saw that, like when I missed it, it looked to me like it didn't count, but I guess I had a thorough look at it, and so it turns out I grabbed the ball, but I didn't fully palm it yet. So that being said, I was still kind of I grabbed it, but I didn't fully palm it yet until I barely lifted up my other leg. That was a tough call. That was, to me, the toughest call of my life in that entire for all the games that I played, including the regular season. So yeah, lucky me, I got another chance, and therefore I made it. I eventually made the third straight. Was it the short mid range? So I gotta tell you, dude. Since then, I was able to have the mid range advantage on the regular mid range shots. And that's where I started on the second activity. So I did a follow-up, and I was down 39-21 already, so I wasn't that far off. And I made how many? 23, 25, 27, 29, 31, 5 straight mid-range shots to cut the lead to just 8 before finally missing one. They got me down by 10, and I started on the 3-point attempts, like on the wing. I started on the same spot, made a 3, cut it to 41-34, and then next thing that happened, I missed another 3, and then I called my second time out, and then I hit another 4. So that was my second 4 to cut it to just 6, 44-38, and that's when I did the mid-range advantage. And boy, that alone, if it wasn't for the second 4 that I made, I'm gonna be in a really tough spot to where I thought I might just already lose. You know what I'm saying? But thank God for me, and because I practiced yesterday here, especially on the 4s, I knew myself that I was gonna make at least 1 or 2. You know what I'm saying? So much to my credit, I made another 4, and game after making all the necessary mid-range shots. And yep, there we go, celebration moment. And now comes the presentation. It's gonna be next week. Sometime when I get off work, I'll be here with my trophy, and it's gonna be an awesome moment. But now, the off season is here. I gotta tell you, man, this entire shoot around, man, season, like starting in January of last year. I mean, it started out better for me as far as like the 3-point shooting, but it was the same. That got a little bit, worse than, than how it started last year. What do I mean by that? Because in 2024, I started out 0-4, and then I got my first one in my 5th game, and then I started to pick it up, and I think eventually I had 3, right? Whereas, I think at one point I think I tied the record, but thing is, I didn't really start having a winning record until, if I'm not mistaken, in the summertime. And from there, that's when I started dominating. I started getting better, 2 double-digit winning streaks, and I got to the first bird season tournament and what have you, and got to the semifinals barely, and lost from there. I only had 1 win. This year, I was 0-4, same thing. Then I won one, and then I was like 1-6 or something like that. So yeah, it was kind of a worse start. But I started to win a little bit more, and it was kind of like in the same situation with last 2024, the last season. But here's where the big difference started, was in April. So after I lost 4 straight, going into the beginning of April, that's when I started to really pick things up and started winning. From there, my entire season started to change, and yes, I started winning all the way, even to a point where in the month of May I did not lose a game at all. How magical. How incredible, right? So yeah, I mean, I gotta tell you, dude, from there, yes, I had 2 double-digit winning streaks, the most, and my record was much better than it was the previous season. Yes, both my home and road records were a lot better as well. So I gotta tell you, dude, that was a hell of a season. I could have gone 90 if I didn't lose to Russ and Eugene on the final 2 of the home games. But it's all right. I finished with 88 and 36. Now, of course, getting into the burst season, I had one of the really tough, activities in that Eastgate Park one, and that was like, it was tight, dude. The entire series was tight to the point where I was down 3-5. I felt like, man, it's gonna be an early playoff exit. I was starting to feel it already, honestly. And then I proved myself wrong. I know in Game 9, when I was in Heritage Park, I was down by 30. And ultimately, forcing overtime, I had to take 2 life-saving shots. And then I ultimately won in overtime. And then Game 10 was a good one. It was more of, pacing the game, running the clock. In Game 11, another tight game, prevailed off of a 4-pointer. And the next series became less difficult. The Eucalyptus series, with the last 2 games being really close and winning both games by consecutive free throws. So I swept that one. I also surprisingly swept the Willow Park series. All the games were close though. All of them. I think I had like 1 blowout. No, I don't think it was a blowout at all. They were all close, dude. So I won each one. to where I had another sweep. That one's an even more impressive sweep than the other one, because considering the level of difficulty of this entire activity. So, and then comes the finals, the Shootaround season finals. Yeah, man. Start 0-2 here. First one was very bad, and next game was better, like right towards the end. I won game 3 in Friendship Park. Game 4, I lost that one, a close one in Friendship Park. Games 5 and 6. 5 on my birthday, it was pretty bad. Game 6, it was bad. And then that was a video game like comeback, having that 58-2 run. And that one was crazy. And knowing that it took the mid-range advantage after like 2 half-court shots, during that 58-2 run for me to win it. So I eventually went up in double digits for like a few seconds, and then I won 79-70. And then games 7 and 8, both won. They were wild games. I think one was a blowout, unexpectedly, and then game 8 was a close one. They're all in Friendship Park again. Game 9, that was in Heritage Park. I lost that one after I was down. Like, it was like a game of runs. I was down big, and then I hit like a half-court shot, and then next thing you know, the game was close, and then I was down huge again, and then I came back, and ultimately to lose off of a mid-range shot. What was it? To lose 69-71 in game 10, as you all know, where I held the target score to just 28 points. It's one of those very rare instances where I had the much higher score. It was like 67-28. That was the finish right there. And then game 11 happened. I know it was about 2 weeks. I took the practice session, and there I go. Winner. First title. So I want to talk about the rest of the game and the car as I go. So this will be a continuation as soon as I get in. So I'll be right back, guys. Thank you for watching, everyone. Like, share, and subscribe.